Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is the 7 p.m. English newscast on Info Television. Our headlines. The Central Evaluation Committee for the 2025 session of the Promotion of Research has held this December 30, 2025 at the Ministry of Scientific Research and Innovation. And the Eastern Gendarmerie Legion has been high on alert for several days, stepping up surveillance and enforcement operations along major roads across the region. Those were our top stories. Details in a jiffy. Welcome back. The Central Evaluation Committee for the 2025 session of the Promotion of Researchers held this December 30, 2025 at the Ministry of Scientific Research and Innovation. The session brought together researchers of different categories. Details in this report. Grade change applications for the quantitative status of files of researchers have been examined on December 30, 2025 at the Ministry of Scientific Research and Innovation. The head of state has responded favorably to the numerous appeals made by the Ministry of Scientific Research and Innovation regarding the establishment of a critical mass of researchers. Thus, the Central Evaluation Committee launched this year's commission. It concerns the Central Evaluation Commission for Researchers of the 2025 session. This activity has been going on for 3 months already because it's a phased activity. It starts with the chronogram established by the Minister of Scientific Research and Innovation and addressed to all the institutes since researchers work in the institutes, and that's where the files are initiated. Once the files are submitted at the institute level based on the criteria defined, these files go through a first phase. Each candidate's eligibility is assessed since scientific production is evaluated, and checking if the researcher is working within their institution is primordial. Once this phase is finished, the files are transmitted to the technical secretary who is based here at the ministry, and the files go through another phase. It's like that for each candidate who is deemed eligible and whose file is admissible. That's because we want to be an external view from the ministry, but we will look for experts for each candidate who have at least the grade they are applying for, and either in the direct specialty or a related specialty. The process, which began in 2015, was completed in 2024 with a statistic of 205 researchers in 2015, 220 in 2016, and 102 researchers in 2024. This body, responsible for viewing the files of deserving researchers, will decide on who to promote to the next high rank based on a thorough examination of their. And as Cameroon approaches the end of 2025, citizens across the country are making preparations for the Feast of Saint Sylvester. These plannings also mark the transition into the year 2026, with many combining spiritual reflection and practical planning. Patience Shintum throws more light.
As the final days of 2025 tick away, the countdown to the Feast of Saint Sylvester and the dawn of 2026 is already reshaping daily life in Cameroon. Across the bustling streets of Yaoundé, residents say preparations go far beyond money. Many are turning inward, placing strong emphasis on prayer, reflection, and thanksgiving as they usher in the new year, hopeful for better days ahead.
I'm a Christian, and as a Christian, I need to cross over my year in the church, and you know, they say you can't, the way you lay your bed is the way you lie on it. So my year 2026, I prepared it this year, and I know that I'm going to make a good target next year. I'm prepared financially, physically, spiritually, and otherwise.
For some students, however, the transition into 2026 comes with a pragmatic resolve. Faced with persistent economic challenges, they see the new year as a turning point, one that demands balancing academic pursuits with income-generating ventures to secure their future.
This year, I've planned to move. In my spiritual life, I have determined to increase in grace, increase my way of doing things, my lifestyle, and try to ensure that whatsoever I do or the way I live my life, speak more in the community. Let people not see my lifestyle and maybe say, oh, look at people who go to church, but they don't replicate what they go to church to do. And concerning my social life, trying to boast my business, what I do, and my education.
Beyond individual aspirations, the end-of-year celebration remains deeply rooted in family life. For countless households, the New Year feast is a cherished moment to reunite, share joy, and collective chart ambitions for the months ahead.
Away from that, nearly 8,000 liters of illicitly blended fuel have been seized by elements of the National Gendarmerie in the Mefo and Afamba division of the Center region. The suspects were presented to the press on December 29, 2025. Jude Kenji tells us more.
This is nearly 8,000 liters of adulterated fuel concealed in 20-liter containers seized by elements of the Mefo and Afamba Gendarmerie Company. Here is the laboratory where fuel and other chemical substances are mixed to produce adulterated fuel. A true sanctuary of counterfeiting located in the area known as Awai Village in the Mefo and Afamba division of the Center region of Cameroon.
La saisie de près de 380.
Last night, during a reinforced patrol based on our intelligence, we apprehended 5 individuals involved in foil trafficking in Awai village. So we informed the chief prosecutor, who personally supervised the operation. We seized a huge quantity of adulterated fuel.
Aux interpellés au carburant saisi.
The 5 alleged traffickers' adulterated fuel are from 3 countries, Niger, Nigeria, and Cameroon.
Ces individus procèdent de diverses manières.
The individuals involved in this trafficking operate in various ways. Some hide stolen foil in tanks around Awai town that are known as symphonies. Others buy petroleum to mix with the foil. Essentially, we've caught receivers and symphonies involved in this scheme. They mix the foil with other substances. Our technical team will analyze the seized samples to determine the exact composition.
Mystère des mines qu'on a eu à saisir pourrait nous donner le résultat exact.
The commander of the Mefo and Afamba Gendarmerie Company took this opportunity to call on the public for greater collaboration. Presented to the press this 29 of December 2025, they will be brought before the competent courts to answer for their actions.
And the Eastern Gendarmerie Legion has been on high alert for several days, stepping up surveillance and enforcement operations along major roads across the region. The aim of this is to prevent road accidents and ensuring safe travel throughout this festive season in that part of the country, as you tell us in this report, Jessica Nziwum.
The East region has recorded no serious traffic accidents since the start of December 2025. This positive outcome was attributed to a special operation of intensified control, surveillance, and enforcement carried out by the National Gendarmerie to curb speeding, drunk driving, overloading, and other risky behaviors commonly observed during the festive period. In the Eastern Gendarmerie Legion, several measures have been put in place to ensure the safety of people and their belongings during the holiday season. We have organized checkpoint operations in major towns as well as in areas considered high risk. Special attention has been given to interurban transport as we have observed significant population movement to and from the capital for the year-end holidays. The National Gendarmerie traffic officers are on constant vigilance watch along roads in the region. So far, the service is running without any incidents. Drivers have been patient and generally disciplined. Our main concerns are excessive speed, dangerous overtaking, lane violations, and vehicle conditions that could lead to accidents. The most common issues we have been observed are worn tires and failure to respect speed limits. The operation was carried out under the supervision of Colonel Divine Noko Ngidi, commander of the Eastern Gendarmerie Legion, which has contributed to safer and more orderly travel for all. The National Gendarmerie has a mission to reassure travelers by ensuring they not only follow traffic regulations but also travel safely and responsibly during this period. As a result, journeys are proceeding peacefully and in compliance with road safety regulations to the satisfaction of passengers.
And on to this information coming from the Ministry of Transport, which reads, Yaoundé 29 December 2025 press release. The Minister of Transport hereby informs the general public that a nautical accident occurred on Saturday 27 December 2025 at about 4 p.m. in the Manoka area at Boyo 8 in the Douala Maritime District following the sinking of the Oka seed boat which had on board a team of 12 persons dispatched within the framework of preliminary investigation relating to the death of the chief officer of the MT Maestro vessel who died at about 6 a.m. The total is 10 persons rescued from the waters thanks to the combined intervention of the Manoka Maritime Brigade and local fishermen. One dead, Mr. Melo Idrisu Fortu, navigator inspector serving at the Douala Maritime District, and one missing, a police officer serving at the port police station whose search is still ongoing. To this end, the Minister of Transport joins the government of the Republic to express heartfelt condolences to affected families. He also states that circumstances of the accident have not yet been elucidated, but primarily information indicates a leak in the hull of the shuttle. An investigation commission has been set up to establish the responsibilities of all parties and to take appropriate measures. The Minister of Transport once again seizes the opportunity to reiterate to all users the need to respect maritime safety rules. Signed, the Minister of Transport, Jean-Ernest Massinangale Bibehe. And on to this other information, the Mboa Sawa Ojedu Festival has held in Betwa, East region of Cameroon, organized by the Sawa people in that part of the country. It was an occasion for the Sawa people to showcase their cultural heritage. Details in this report.
The culinary know-how of the Sawa people has been presented to the population of the Eastern region. I am here to sell the mangoloma, accompanied with mashwarong bongo. It's a heavy dish to the Sawa people. Without mangoloma, you are not Sawa, you are nothing. In the context of the Macron festivities, Mboa Sawa Auditor Edition 2025, the richest culinary of these people of the coast were presented at Betwa during the Gastronomy Day. There are many varieties in terms of dishes. When we discover a new adventure in terms of culinary art, I realize that it should be diverse at times. In addition to the gastronomy, the populations of the Eastern region invited to this festival learn the history of the Sawa and the Boa Sawa, the history of the Kaba and its marking, as well as the different ways of tying the headscarf. This is for the Sawa. I am very happy with the atmosphere of the event. We arrived, the reception was really beautiful. When we see the atmosphere, it's warm our heart. During the cultural evening, the steps of the Sawa people dance were revealed to the guests, as well as some traditional rites.
It is to celebrate the end of the year activities of the Sawa community in the East. The main objective is to regroup all the Sawa of the East in the different regions as a Sawa Dengondo community. We are all together, united and far from home. Over the course of the 2 days' intense activities, satisfactions is total for the Mboa Sawa leaders. There are gifts that we have given to the orphanage, accompanied with the gastronomy day, which was a total subject. The appointment is kept for next year. See you in 2026 for the next edition.
And on to this other information, 2.1 billion CFA francs is the 2026 financial year budget for Yaoundé 3. The budget was adopted during the Council's ordinary session this December 30, 2025, chaired by the Mayor, Lucas Owona. Jude Kenji reports.
In a session emblematic of coordinated governance, the Yaoundé 3 Council convened an ordinary session on Tuesday, 30 December 2025 at the Saint Francois venue to adopt its administrative budget for the 2026 financial year. The meeting was chaired by Mayor Lucas Owona and held under the supervisory presence of the Senior Divisional Officer for Fundi, Emmanuel Mareng Jingdeng. Mayor Lucas Owona presented and the municipal councillors voted to adopt a budget set at 2.1 billion CFA francs, balancing revenues and expenditures. These figures represent a slight decrease of 251 million CFA francs, or 10.68% from the 2025 projections of 2.351 billion CFA francs. The balanced and reduced budget reflects a strategic adjustment, likely focusing on optimizing existing resources for critical municipal services and infrastructure projects.
What I appreciate is that Yaoundé 3 before didn't have market. And you know that the market is a principal source of revenue for the council. And the mayor have built 2 markets, Nsam and Ahala, that will contribute to ameliorate the level of the life.
Key investments are expected to continue in sanitation programs, road maintenance, public health initiatives, just to name a few.
We have elaborated this budget in program mode, where we have used 4 major programs. One of the programs is to bring about social amenities to the population. And in this program, we are looking at providing water, electricity, as well as construction of roads. The annual investment plan of the Yaoundé 3 Council has earmarked the construction of and the tarring of the road from Ahala to Obobogo. We have also earmarked 4 villages, Mekumbu, Etwa, Afanoyo, and Twisong, where we are going to be doing some grading of the roads with gutters as well.
The presence of the Senior Divisional Officer for Fundi highlighted the interdependent relationship between central and local government in Cameroon's decentralized structure.
And the other thing I asked the mayor is to fight the urban disorder, because we cannot live in a middle where people do not respect the circulation, they do not respect the place of market. As he has built market, women will be forced to go and sell there, and that will help them to control resources.
With the budget now formally voted upon and endorsed by the supervisory authority, the focus for Mayor Lucas Owona and his team shifts decisively to efficient execution and accountability in 2026. The approved and reduced budget serves as a public contract with the citizens of Yaoundé 3, outlining promised projects and services within a tighter financial framework. The council's administrative and political success in the coming year will be measured by its ability to deliver visible improvements and essential services while demonstrating prudent financial management, thereby justifying the high level of oversight and trust placed in this local governance process.
And in economy, the 2026 budget recently enacted by the head of state has sparked concerns as it seeks to balance ambitious development goals. Projected deficit and increasing financial pressure on the country's economy equally raises concern. Phillips Enchi tells us more.
Following the adoption of the 2026 state budget by the lower and upper houses of parliament, the President of the Republic on December 17, 2025 promulgated the budget, which stands at 8,816.4 billion francs CFA. The budget is aimed at consolidating public finance and aligning government action with the 2020-2030 National Development Strategy. In response to the growing demands for infrastructural development, the 2026 state budget represents a 14% increase compared to 2025. It prioritizes key sectors, notably infrastructure, with 2,026.3 billion francs CFA allocated to roads, energy, agriculture and industry. The budget also places emphasis on youth and women empowerment through the creation of a new special fund endowed with 50 billion francs CFA. The government is expecting the budget to stimulate economic growth projected at 4.3% in 2026, largely driven by the non-oil sector. Its significance lies in the potential to boost economic activity, improve competitiveness, and enhance social welfare while strengthening public finance management. However, the budget also raises concerns. Challenges remain, including a projected deficit of 631 billion francs CFA and a high financing need estimated at 3,104.2 billion francs CFA. Despite these constraints, the 2026 budget reflects a growth-oriented strategy focused on infrastructural development and social inclusion, with authorities hopeful of positive outcomes for Cameroon's economy. The country moves forward. The 2026 state budget is expected to address pressing issues, not leaving out economic hardships, insecurity, and environmental concerns. With President Paul Biya's 2035 emergence plans looming, Cameroonians are called to unite in shaping the country's future.
The security situation in the country's north and southwest regions remains fragile as separatist violence continues to rise despite the increased deployments of security and defense forces. Civilians who were exposed to risk hope for a more appeasing atmosphere in the year 2026. Phillips Enchi throws more light.
The north and the southwest regions in Cameroon continue to witness an increase in security threats despite the proliferation of the defense and military forces as separatist fighters keep developing their modus operandi in the regions with kidnapping, extortion, theft, rape, while depriving students from going to school and creating a negative atmosphere for economic growth. The ongoing conflict has created a climate of fear, with non-state armed groups brandishing a significant control over local population. Kidnappings for ransom remain a significant concern, with armed groups using illegal checkpoints to extort money and monitor movement. On May 2025, 3 reported attacks on education, including kidnapping and threats against students and teachers, were recorded. On October 2025, 8 people were kidnapped in Ako subdivision in the Ndonga Mantum division northwest region and 3 others in Bonge subdivision, Mehmet division, southwest region. The economic toll of the conflict is a call for concern, with looting of properties and destruction of houses and farms demanding humanitarian needs. Armed groups intensify their act of banditry, depriving residents of their motorcycles and extort money from civilians and checkpoints, resulting in crippling the local economy. Gender-based violence cannot be underestimated, with identified cases of rape and sexual assault. Women and girls are particularly vulnerable and remains in pain despite efforts to put an end to the violence. The situation on the ground remains frightful as the conflict continues, with civilians bearing the impact of the violence. In an effort to address the crisis, the defense and security forces are sparing no efforts in containing the situation. The extradition of Seseko Julius Ayuktabe from Nigeria on January 5, 2018 marked a significant development. The alleged separatist leader was sentenced to life imprisonment by a military court in Yaoundé, and the case is currently pending appeal at the Supreme Court, with a hearing scheduled for January 15, 2026. In his inaugural speech on November 6, 2025, President Paul Biya insists on the intensification of security measures so as to eradicate insecurity across the country. The government continues to urge Cameroonians to collaborate with security and defense forces so as to overcome the insurgent groups.
And we have come to the end of tonight's edition. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks very much for watching and staying in the company of our programs. Happy New Year in advance.